Hi, welcome to another episode of Dark Girl Chronicles. I'm here. I'm alive. Not dead yet. COVID did not, in fact, take me out as we once thought it would. I did not die. I got through that last bout of COVID. Pretty. It took a minute. That last episode that I did in this season, in season one, if you'll recall, I had COVID. I had the Rona. There was no other way of getting around that. By the time I did that episode, I had the Rona for a couple of days. And it was time number 2 that I had the Rona. So that was February 2023. It is now November 2023. So it's been like 9 months since last bout of the Rona and when I last made an episode. We made it through. I did not take Paxlovid this second time. I did the first time, but not the second time. Husband never did test positive. I said that in the last video that we had tested him numerous times. And he never did test positive on any test that he took, whether it was at the house or it was at the job. But we believe he was positive because he had some symptoms, nowhere near as thick up as mine was. Where I very clearly had COVID. He never did have any symptoms where it was as bad, but he had symptoms. He sneezed a little bit, runny nose a little bit. Like I say, for him, COVID is it's a sniffle. It's barely a sniffle for him. But for me, I have symptoms. I have COVID. It's pretty obvious, and I am probably very contagious. Because now both times I have managed to give my husband COVID when I got it through the job. So, but otherwise we good. We're live. We live around these parts. Some stuff has happened. Husband and I are okay. We still still smiling in each other's face. We still kind of sort of newlyweds. We are at 2.5 years married now. We've we just live. Go to work, come home, do stuff at the house together, go places. But COVID wise, we've not gotten it a third time in the time since that last bout. We've not gotten it again. Which is good because I don't want COVID a third time. We have been very good about staying away from people, being proactive at the job, both of our jobs, not fooling with folks who, don't particularly take it seriously. Yes, I realize it is not a pandemic. It's not considered a pandemic anymore. But considering every time I've had COVID, it has been awful. Yeah, I think we're gonna not try to get it again. And we're going to take necessary precautions because we know now that COVID for me is a very, very, very unpleasant and bad experience. I didn't wind up having to go to the hospital, but you guys saw me on camera. I sounded terrible. I sounded like I had COVID. And my doctor said the first time I had it that she could hear it in my chest. She could hear it in my face and in my chest. So yeah, no. I've not had it since then. We have since gotten another booster shot. We got the one that was authorized in September. So both of us got shots somewhere around the end of September. I don't even remember exactly when. I wrote it on my little card because they're not even using the cards anymore for the shots. But I got shot number 5. So as did he. He went and got it, and then I got it. And then I was like, okay, all right. So we did go, so both of our birthdays had passed. Our wedding anniversary passed. We did for our wedding anniversary. We we were home the day of, and we went out and did a little bit of light shopping, had some lunch, and spent time together. We got a couple of gifts for each other. We went to like Second and Charles and bought some mugs and shirts and books and stuff like that. But and then we had like dinner. I think we went and got, or I cooked or something. I don't even remember. Uh, but we were at the house, and we didn't go right then. So end of the month though, end of April, we wound up going to Charlotte, and we went to this arcade there called Super Bari, and it's a bar arcade. And so we're actually going to do a feature on it coming up in this next issue of Gaming Insurrection, is because we went twice. We actually went twice. We went in April, and then for our anniversary, and we went and stayed at the Westin, and we went and did a little bit of light shopping, and we had a good time. I thought it was a good time. And then we went. So we went to this arcade, and we had a good time. Played some video games. They had a lot of arcade games. They actually had Ultimate MK3. I was very excited about that. Played some of that. They had a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I was very excited about that. And I mean, we had a good time. So then when we came back from there, that was April, May. I'm trying to think, what did we do in May? Big time in May. I was trying to remember the sequence of events here. This is what happens when you don't do a video in several months between videos. In May, I got a promotion at the job, so I am now auditor. Because I was an associate auditor, and then I got promoted to auditor. So it's the next step up, and then the next after that is senior auditor. So yay, way more money. I'm like, yay, more money. It's a nice chunk of change. I very much, it is more money than I have ever seen in my whole life, all at one time. I This take home pay I have never seen in my life. Like, I'm not used to having this kind of money every payday. It's not even in the grand scheme of things. It's not a whole ton of money, but it's more money than I ever made as a journalist. I could put it that way. But I remember, so okay, way back in like November, me and my coach, same coach, um, we had a check in, and in the check in, my director came in, one of my directors. Director comes and sits in, and he asks, "Well, do you think you're ready for a promotion? You gonna be ready for a promotion in June?" And I'm like, "Shit, no. What are you asking me that for? No, I ain't gonna be ready for no promotion. I ain't ready right now. Probably ain't gonna be ready then. And no, I ain't trying to talk myself out no extra money or whatever. But I feel like if you come ask me that, you already think I am, but you want to see, do I think I am? And the answer is no, because I don't feel like, I don't know what the baseline is for me to be considered ready. I know it now, but at the time I didn't know that. So like, how would I be able to tell you yeah or no? So yeah, I'm a default and tell you no, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you yeah, then you promote me and then you realize, well, shit, she actually ain't ready. Like, we're not doing that. So yeah, no, I told him no. I personally, because I don't know what the baseline is. I don't know what you consider ready. I know, I feel like I might be, but I don't want to give you a definite yet. So that was November 2022. Okay. Well, when I came back to the other side where this director is in February, right when I caught the Rona, um, he he said, I said, well, listen, I feel like you asked me a couple months ago. Actually, I seem to have surpassed whatever benchmark I thought was the benchmark here. I am out here cooking. So that was around about February, March. I was like, oh, hold on. I feel like I'm out here, as the kids like to say, cooking. Okay. And he was like, yeah, we've noticed, a very much jump in your knowledge base here, based on your assignments, and how well you've done the assignments, and what you've been doing with the work you've produced. So I'm being very vague intentionally here, so without talking about exactly what it is I do. But it was noted by several folks, apparently, that your girl was out here cooking, as the kids like to say. And and when I came back, it's like every time I have come back to this side, it is I have shown way more knowledge gathering. I've seemed to have understood a little bit more about the process each time I've come back. So, and I told them that. I said, I'm one of the people, you got to give me time. You can't just expect me to know this right off the jump. We ain't one of them people. We're not an off the rip type of person, okay? And I know this about myself. I am the type of person, you have got to give me time to get acclimated and get myself situated. And then once I'm situated, we start cooking, okay? I start mastering things fairly quickly. Now you just got to give me a minute. So, and I feel like that's what happened here. So that was like February, March when I talked to him again. Well, April came. I was still doing stuff, and I started doing risk assessments. Okay. So risk assessments, you're literally assessing the risk that there will be a material misstatement of the accounts and the expenses of the accounts. So basically what we are doing here is we are taking the client's stuff and saying, all right, let me look at your books. So you told me this is what you had. All right, well, you told me this. This is what you reported. This is what DHHS says you're supposed to have. Well, okay, we can reconcile what you got and what they say you're supposed to have within a certain amount, okay? And that amount is the baseline. So if what you say is above this, why? Well, and it's got to be above it a certain amount. Now there's what's called a tolerable misstatement. That's TM, okay? So what happens here is if you get within a certain amount of this amount, if your number is under this, fine. We probably ain't gonna fool with it. But if your amount is over this reported amount from your expenses and what DHHS says you're supposed to have, now we got some questions. Now, let me look at your books and see what's going on. Why would you have something above this amount? So when we talk about doing risk assessments, we're talking about whether or not the likelihood that this is, materially misstated, that you misstated how much you had, that you went over the amount of the TM. Okay, that's the basics of what TM and tolerable misstatement means. Okay, so the fact that I can sit here and explain this, okay, in a way that y'all probably, if you're watching this and you have no clue what auditing is, what tolerable misstatement is, if you can understand what I just told you, that means I know what I'm talking about. So, and it's correct, because I know that's correct. I know that for a fact that is actually correct. So what I'm doing when I do risk assessments is I'm assessing the risk that they have misstated it. So what you're doing is you're basically telling the story of their books, of their accounts, of what's happening on the account and what they did over a period of a year. Okay. So knowing all that, I have been doing risk assessments. I started doing our annual comprehensive financial review for the state. I started doing that at some point. I've been working on that. But before that, I had been doing risk assessments over on the other side for 6 months. Okay. So for 6 months, I have literally been neck deep in risk assessments. I can write you a risk assessment at this point. I can write you a risk assessment. You can read that risk assessment and go, oh, okay, well, this is what's happening in this account. All right, cool. All right. So, yeah, we probably test this, figure out what's going on, why this is above, especially if I tell you that this is what we're going to do or no work proposed. So, and even getting to the point of understanding why you're writing the risk assessment and how you will judge that you will need to write a risk assessment. That part is part of what I have been doing and learning. So, yeah, listen, I've been cooking, and my coach, God bless him, he good man. He good man. He got a lot of patience with me because, listen, your girl took a minute to understand how all that worked. But once I understood it, he said I did a good job. So, yeah, I feel like I can do the job and I can do it well. So enough that I could possibly start reviewing work. I could maybe start teaching folks. I did actually do a little bit of review because that's going to be that's part of the next step up. Once I become a senior auditor, you start reviewing other people's work. So like my coach is a senior auditor. And he reviews my work. I actually do the work. Then he reviews what it is I've done. So at that point, he's been doing it a long time. So he knows what to look for, what he's doing the review. So, and then there's a person above him who reviews his work. So there's somebody who reviews every step of the process here. So in my case, my coaches also, I tend to work with him a ton. So we tend to we tend to see each other's work. So I watch him while he's doing the review, and he's going through it and saying, okay, this is what I'm looking for when I look at your risk assessment. This is what I'm looking for. I want to see that you have included this note in here that, I don't know, the provider changed their vendor for whatever, or that they didn't note any problems the last time around when we last reviewed this account for this specific provider. I want to see that you've noted these things, that you've gone and done the work and researched to find out what's going on with the risk assessment. So that's part of his job, is to figure that out. So, and to make sure that I am understanding how all of that works and that I am noting the correct things for the risk assessment. So yeah, that's part of also what I'm doing is sitting there at his knee and studying and going, okay, well, this is what you do when you do review. All right, this is what I'm going to be doing when I do review. These are the things you look for, and make sure that these things are correct. Okay, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I am going to be paying attention to. So basically, I'm trying to shadow him as much as possible in the next 2 years. Okay, so my goal, and he and I are going to sit down and talk about this in a couple of weeks, actually. My goals for this coming year, and because we do these every year. So for the coming year, what are my goals in this year? And mine is to shadow him, to follow him and pay attention to what he's doing. Learn good habits and learn how to do the next step. Because I don't want to say we mastered the associate stuff. Anybody can be an associate auditor here. They literally took me off the street and turned me into an associate auditor. Okay? So if you can take me off the street, anybody can do this. Okay? Now we got to work on the nuance of the job. And that's what we are worried about in this next year. Getting the nuance of what it is I do on that side. Also on the other side too, because I though I'm not planning on being on the other side, let me go ahead and put this out here on the street. And when I talked to the director of the side that I want to be on, he and I talked about this, and I made sure I made this plain and obvious. I want y'all to hear me when I say, I don't care where these people put me, so long as I'm employed. I will go where these people tell me to go. If the director told me, hey, you know what? I need you to go out there to that ball field. When y'all go down there, because we actually had another day where we went to the ball field. It was, for like office stuff. It was like a little get together. We went to a baseball game, a local baseball game. Okay. So I went, director didn't go, but I went. And I was like, listen, if you told me to go down there, while y'all down there at the ball field, go down there and count the number of seats and let me know and come back, give me a report on that when you come back to the office. The first thing I'm going to say is, now how soon exactly do you need that? Because it's going to take me a minute to get some numbers. I got to go talk to some folks and get some official attendance figures. I can sit here and count the seats, but that don't tell me anything. That don't tell me how many people actually pass through the turnstiles. They can give me those numbers, but you got to give me some time to get them numbers. I can get it to you and put it in a report and tell you, get you some trends. They can tell me for one season, for how many other seasons they've been doing this, they can tell me how many people have been in every game for the past 5 seasons. I can get you those numbers and get you a chart made and all that. But I need to know a time frame that you're looking for this. And what kind of level of detail are you looking for in these numbers? That's the kind of that is what you get out of me when you employ me. Okay? So you're not gonna hear me show up in somebody's office and be like, nah, what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. No, it's gonna be yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, and how soon do you need it? I am not stupid. I know also too, I know what the damn unemployment line look like. Okay? I know exactly what the unemployment line look like and how many steps it takes to go get unemployment. We're not doing that. Not ever again, not if I can help it. I'm too old for that. Absolutely not. That might have been okay in my 20s, but definitely not in my 40s. So, nah, I got bills to pay. I got entirely too many bills to pay for all that. So, no. So yeah, no. So he laughed at me when I said that. I was like, I'm serious. You think I'm playing? I am dead serious with you. Listen, I know what that unemployment line was like in 2008. I was 27 years old, had a tiny little family to take care of and bills, and I was unemployed for a couple of months there. Absolutely not. We will not. So no, if it means I got job security in here, I will. You can go out there and tell me to count the holes in the wall or whatever. I will go do it. and promptly punch my clock and let you know exactly how much time it took me to do that. So when we went to that baseball game, right after that is when they announced promotions. So I was sitting in a check-in with my coach. And my coach says, well, while I'm sitting in the meeting with him, the lady, the HR lady calls, or she sends me a thing. She says, "You in the office today?" I said, "Well, yes, I am. I'm actually in a check-in right now. I'm like down the hall from you." And so she says, "Well, when you finish with your check-in, let me know, and come stop by my office, sit down and chit chat." And I said, "Oh, okay, all right." And I'm like, "Oh Lord, what have I done now? I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything, but let me make sure I ain't did nothing." And so, well, let me find out, make sure I ain't did nothing wrong. So I'm sitting there with my coach, and I told him, I said, "Oh, HR director just said come see her." And I said, this can be one of two things, and I don't think I did anything particularly terrible in the last however. So but I'm paranoid about that sort of thing. Again, we know what the unemployment line is like. So I said, well, we finished here. I'm gonna go down there and talk to her. And he said, okay, all right. So we continued on, and I said, well, I know coming up we got these things I'm supposed to be working on with you, and we'll work on them and we'll talk about it. All right. So we talked about it, and I said, all right, well, I'm going down there. I'll check back in with you later and let you know what was going on, because I'm paranoid. And he said, well, that's all right. No, don't be paranoid. I'm like, I know. So listen, I know. And he said, yeah, I know, but it'll be fine. I suspected he already knew what it was because he'd already done my review for the year. So I said, all right, well, I'm go down in there. I go in there. I sit down and she slides. As I sit down, she said, come on in, sit down. Come on, sit down, Miss Hicks. Come on. And I said, okay, all right. And she said, well, we wanna congratulate you and give you some good news. I said, oh Lord. I'm like, good news. Child, are we sure it's good news? Because, don't scare me like this now. Don't have me think. I told her, she already knew too, so she knew why I was. And she said, oh, it's nothing bad. It's great news, actually. So I said, okay. So she said, well, yeah, let me give you some numbers. So she writes down on a sticky note, and she goes in and she finds my letter, and it's on the official letterhead. So she says, let me give you some numbers. She writes down numbers, slides the piece of paper across the table. And I look at the piece of paper and it says, we are pleased to offer you a promotion to auditor. And then she says, okay, so, and then it talks about, promotion raise. Okay. So your new start, because they have to give it to you on official letterhead. So she says, okay, I'm going to give you 3 numbers. The first number is is the promotion raise. And I said, so I look at it again. So then I said, what's the second number? She said, that's the general increase from the state. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Which I'm used to this. I know what that is because we've gotten those in the 2 years that I've been there. Okay. So then she says, and the third number is your final salary after this, this go round. That's the market cost of living increase that we are doing for the agency. So it's the agency increase. So I'm used to that too, because again, the last year we got one. Okay, so and it's very dependent upon your agency. Okay, I look at that third number and I was like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. she said what? And I'm like, I said, Miss HR lady, do you understand? I have never seen that kind of money before as a salary. I never came close to this kind of. Y'all paying me a very nice. I almost cried in that woman's office. I promise you, I almost cried in her office. Listen, I'm fixing to cry on camera. Y'all, y'all been with me when I was a journalist, okay? Way back in season probably 3. I think I was on season 3 when I stopped being a journalist and had to come home and fix my shit and, start all over again. Go back to school, do all of this stuff, okay? So, around about 2014 is when all of this. My mama was still alive. Mama was like, listen, you're going to go back to school. When I'm gone, go back to school. Do something better for yourself. Get you a good job. Do better. You will do better. And she said, I have faith in you. You are a smart child. You are extremely go-getter. You got a good work ethic. You go out here and you work hard. I know you're going to do better. And the first step is for you to go to school. Again, get another degree. Do something that's going to make you some money. And, of course, my mom died probably about a year after that. But we had been talking about it for years anyway. But, I mean, y'all knew what I did as a journalist. So going back to school was hard, and that was by myself. I mean, I had Brandon, and Brandon helped him, but at no point did I really get any substantial help from my family on my mama's side. Daddy was non-existent, child, unreliable at best, and that's being kind. But y'all, when I sit here and I tell you that lady slid that piece of paper across that table, and that had been the culmination of 8 years of hard work, going back to school, mama dying, restarting a career, trying to get a good job, getting a job that's going to pay some bills and not having to worry about money coming in, and some job security, a little bit of job security, pandemic. She slid that piece of paper across that table, and I looked at that number. I said, hold on. Are you sure? Are y'all sure? Are you sure? And she was like, yeah, you earned this. She was like, you earned this. You have been, she specifically told me this. I ain't exactly what she said, but paraphrasing what she said, you have been an excellent employee. We don't have no problems out of you. You're good. You come in here, you do the work, you're here often, you're enthusiastic when you're here. Like, nah, it was not at all what I was expecting. And I'm serious when I tell y'all, I almost cried in that woman's office, because I was like, and I told her, I said, I have never seen this kind of money as a salary. As a journalist, I didn't even sniff this. Okay, at the most, I can tell you, I will at least tell you that my salary as a journalist, the most I ever made was as a copy desk chief, and I made $35,000 a year. Okay, that ain't no money. To be quite honest, that ain't no money. Back in the day, you could raise a family off of that. Yeah, it's pretty good money. Now, no, you can't do that. I mean, you could live like a king in Colombia if you really want to, off of 35,000. But when I tell y'all, I almost cried in that woman's office. I had to sit there for a minute, and I was like, "This just a bump, the auditor. We ain't even talked about senior yet." And she was like, "I know," and I was like, "You got to understand. This is the culminate. This is just the stepping stone. But this came after a long time." And she was like, "I understand." She's like, "Take a minute if you have to." And I'm like, I know this seems like a gross overreaction, but when I tell you, I said, and I remember telling her, I said, "You don't understand. Me and my mama sat there planning this out before she died." And I said to mama, I said, "Mama, one day I'm going to get enough money, and I'm going to be able to take care of the house. I wish I'd be able to take care of you, and I'll be able to take care of myself and not have to worry about money. And I'll be able to live comfortably." And she said, "That's the plan." She said, "No, you ain't going to be able to take care of me, but that's the plan, is to be able to live comfortably." I live comfortably. My husband and I have enough money now. Between the two of us, our combined salary is almost six figures. Almost. That's how much extra I was making. Even when I started this job, it was more money than I'd ever seen, okay? When they gave me the offer letter, I was like, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is good money for a starting accountant with basically no years of auditing experience. That's pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. But when I tell y'all, and I've gotten raises since I've been there. So so when she said, "We want to offer you this kind of," excuse me, I We make almost six figures combined together. I did the math because he also got a raise right about the same time. The same raise that I got as a general increase, he also got with his in his department because we both work for the same entity basically. We work for the same entity. So um, yeah, I remember I got home. I called him actually. Well, so let me back up a little bit. So when I got out of her office, we sat there and we talked for a little bit, and I got my piece of paper and I did a dance when I got out that woman's office, and so I went and later on I talked to the director of the division and that I want to be in, and I said to him, I was like, thank you. Y'all took a chance on me when you hired me, first of all. Um, you didn't know what you was necessarily going to get. And on top of that, in this day and age, hiring older workers, it's a little bit of a gamble. You don't know. They might be set in their ways. So, I mean, young people, you can teach them. Old person, not necessarily. And I said, I appreciate that you see my potential. You have confidence in my work. Y'all are patient with me. And yeah, I make mistakes, but y'all don't hold it against me. So, and that y'all recognize that I come in here and my goal every time I step foot in this building, are we going to do a good job today? What am I bringing to the table when I step foot in here? Let me make sure that my part of the deal is is what it should be. I got to come in here and produce. I need to do the best work that I can do. Some days it might be a little hard. Some days I just be like, bro, I have no idea what's going on here. And I ask a million questions. So, and I asked him, I asked the director, I'm like, God, listen, I need you to explain this to me because I don't understand what's happening here. And he takes the time to explain. And that's what I really like about working with him and why I really want to work on his side of things. He will take the time to say, how can I help you? What do you need? You need me to come over there? I'll come over there to your desk if you want me to. Or you going to come here? What do you want? I'll come over there. And he will come over and he will stop and look at everything. And then he'll say, all right, this is what's happening here. And then he'll take the time to explain it. And I'm like, that's the mark of a good boss. A good boss doesn't expect you to know it off the top of your head. And a good boss will expect not that you will know it, but that you will come ask the questions. So yeah, I really, really, really like working for him. And I'm always sad when I'm not in his division because I go back and forth. I'm a pooler here, so I pool back and forth. But yeah, I very much enjoy working on that side, and I really look forward to being permanent on that side if they will let me be permanent on that side. They already know that that's what I want to do anyway. They know for a fact that that's what I want to do. But yeah, when I tell y'all, listen to me. When I tell y'all that um it's a time, that was a good day here. So then I came out of there after I talked to him. I talked to my coach and I said, "You knew they was gonna give me this today." He said, "Well, I had an idea that it was coming up, but I didn't know it was gonna be today." And I'm like, so I said, "Look at here, look." And when we went somewhere. I got my coach a thing. Oh well, we went later. It was like later in the month. I got him a little small gift, and I wrote him a nice note, and I said, "You know how fond of you I am. I really enjoy working with you, and I wanted to say thank you because if it were not for you, we might not been allowed to cook." But I told him, I said, it's thanks to you and your willingness to help and get me to a point where I can do the work. And I can do the work and be confident in my work. And even when I make a mistake or I don't get something right, he will take the time and he will gently say, hey, all right, listen, yeah, we kind of made a mistake here. It's not that it's not fixable, but here, let me show you what's going on with this and why this is the way this is what it should be, and this is why. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, this makes a lot of sense. Also, when I have questions, I can go to him and say, hey, guy, I don't understand what's going on here. Can you help me explain? Da, 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 da. And when he's explaining, I'm writing and I'm taking notes. So that is why, and that's why I say I also am planning to very much like follow him and shadow him. So yeah, super excited. So yes, and it wasn't just me that got promoted. It was a couple other folks. Very excited for them too. I was like, yes, look at us out here prospering. I was like, yay, people are prospering. I was very, very excited for coworkers who also, who got promotions too. Cause I was like, listen, one of us win, all of us win. Okay. We a team. We got to work together in here. So, yay. So then, that was May. My birthday was in June. We went to, Hall's Chop House here in Columbia, and bruh, husband spent like $300 on dinner. I was like, baby, listen, I feel inclined to put out. He was laughing at me. He was like, I mean, don't feel like you have to. I was like, for a $300 dinner, somebody better do something in here. But we had a good dinner. It was great. It was actually really good. We sat outside on their outdoor patio. Coach had already told me what to expect because they go fairly often. So I said, well, give me some guidance on what it is to go, what is it like to go to Halls? And he was like, okay, this is what you can get. I recommend these things. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. So we did. We took his recommendations. So that was June. July, not too much happened. It was hot. August, not too much. Trying to think, what else did I do? Really didn't do too much else. September, we got COVID shots, shot number 5, and then we went back to the arcade in Charlotte. This was not the better trip was in April. This trip in September was not the best planned. And I told him, I told Brandon, I was like, sir, what we are not doing is doing this again. Because we didn't realize and did not think about until we got there, the NFL home game. We planned it for a weekend where they had a home game. So the hotel experience was not great. We messed that up. Then, and I couldn't get the price down on it. And then on top of that, I got sick while we were there. Then we got home. Now, we still went to the arcade. We still had a good time. We bought a couple of things. I bought some more stuff for my desk at work. I got a couple more Funko Pops. But then we got home. I was sick. And not COVID. It was not COVID. My stomach just got crazy upset and weird. And then septic tank had issues. So when we got back to the house, and I was like, really? So had I known all that, we just wouldn't have gone there and we'd have saved the money. So, but, getting the septic tank done. I mean, we got it done, but I would have rather spent the money on that. But it was his birthday trip because it was for his birthday. And that's where he said he wanted to go again for his birthday. So I told him, I was like, okay, well, next year, listen, I'm not trying to tell you where you need to go for your birthday, but let's not pick someplace that has an NFL home game because it's not going to be a good experience there. So we wound up not being able to eat in the restaurant that we wanted to at the hotel because too many people. And I was not sitting down there, even though I had just gotten a shot for go. I was like, no, I'm not sitting down here with all these people because that'll be the damn time I catch the Rona. I can see, it was so many people, I was like, I can see the Rona in the air. Mm-mm. So next year we'll pick someplace different. Or we'll make that be a day trip, and we won't stay in Charlotte specifically. We might stay somewhere else. So then that was September. Um October didn't really do anything. Um and it's now November, so Halloween did pass. It is now just another day for me. So because I don't know if I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure I did mention in a previous episode of Dark Girl Chronicles that my first wedding anniversary was Halloween, because we got married on Halloween. So now at this point, because I haven't been married to him in 10 years, it's literally just another day. I don't care. It was, I realized it was Halloween. I was like, oh, we might have some trick or treaters, and that was about it. I went to work, came home, and that was that. But I did note that yes, I would have been married 19 years to the first husband had we stayed married. But guess what? Happily remarried for 2.5 years to the second husband. Happily. Listen, I love the shit out of my second husband. So that's why at this point it's just another day. It doesn't mean anything or make any difference to me whatsoever. So, yeah, that's literally all that has happened in the last, couple of days, months, weeks, whatever. We really haven't had too much going on. So I don't know. I might do another episode a little bit. I don't know. Christmas is coming up. Thanksgiving's coming up. Beginning of the year is coming up. So yeah, I don't know. I might do something. I don't know. We'll see. It depends. But definitely, I try to do some more episodes. Do some stuff. Oh, I did get a new phone. I did get, so you guys can see. I got an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Yeah, I got an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Finally, I had that phone. I had my iPhone 7 Plus for like 6 years, and so Brandon's phone died, and his phone absolutely just like died. And so he went and got a new phone, and while he was in there getting his phone, I said, well, you know what? Since we're here, let me look, because it was bin time. Like, it's 6 years. So I was like, yeah, it's time. So let me look and see. So I looked and see what they had, and I bought my phone, and the guy was like, you do realize like the 15's coming out next month? I'm like, yeah, but I don't care. I don't want a 15. I don't want a brand new phone. That I don't need one. I just need a phone. Clearly, I just need a phone, but I'll take a 14 if you got it. So I got a 14. I did all my stuff at the same time he did his, and it is lovely. I love this phone. I love the newer features in it. So yeah, Huck Phone the first is has gone bye bye. Actually, I kept it. I did keep it, and I have turned it into an iPod. It does not hold the battery does not hold a charge at all. So it dies if I leave it. If I just turn off the display, it will die in a day. So I have to constantly charge it now. But yeah, I did keep it, and I do have my old iPod too. So I have an iPod Touch. So my 7 Plus basically is an iPod. I just can't use it as a phone anymore. But I got the 14, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, so I will see you guys later. I am gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll do some more videos pretty soon. But thanks for watching, and come back and watch more videos. Deuces.